Hello, and as you've just seen on that video, we have a new New Zealand car of the year, the BYD Atto 3. And the man who's with me in the room needs very little introduction, and I'm sure is very happy today. Warren Willmot from BYD New Zealand. Warren, congratulations. You must be pretty excited.
Well, we're absolutely stoked, Richard, and thank you very much for inviting us on the show today.
So yeah, look, I mean, with the awards, the BYD Atto 3 has gathered a few awards now. This is the latest, I would argue, with my history with the award, probably one of the greatest. Tell us, I mean, what has the car been awarded with so far in New Zealand?
Yeah, that's right, Richard. We've received a few awards this year, which has been great. So the Company Vehicle EV of the Year award, the AA Driven EV of the Year award, Drive Life Best Value EV, and of course, the Motoring Writers Guild overall Car of the Year award. So it's been fantastic.
Now, for those who don't know what this award is, the New Zealand Car of the Year Award's been around for quite some time. I think it's about 33, 34 years now.
1988 on the trophy.
Yep. It's voted on by motoring journalists around the country, and there's it's one of the few awards that has no. This is an arguable point. No commercial influence, and it's a very pure award. The people test the vehicles in their own home environments. It's not some big forced track day or something like that. And I think gives a very, very solid winner generally. It's had a number of EV winners now. I was actually president of the guild for a few years and ran the award up until last year. So I didn't actually vote on this one. But I, of course, gave the car my personal vote by buying one. So that's an award in itself.
You weren't the only one. We've had some other press buy a car as well, which has been fantastic. So.
And you have a little bit of personal history with the award, Warren. Can you tell us about that?
I do. So I first saw the award in 1990. I was 5 years old, and my grandfather, the late Ray Willmot, was the president of the Motoring Writers Guild at the time. And I remember bringing the award home because he was going to present it to Mazda for MX-5 Car of the Year Award. So I first spied my eye on it way back then. And after receiving the award yesterday, I brought it home for my children to have a look at. So it's just, it's got a nice little place in my heart and very close to it. And of course, I have not always worked for BYD. I've worked for other car brands, and those other brands have received the award too. So I'm quite familiar with it. We've seen it on the shelf before, but it's great to have it here in the office. And I can tell you, BYD China, our dealers, everybody's absolutely thrilled to win this award.
I mean, what does it mean to the company and to the brand overall to win them? I mean, is it something that does it help sell cars? Is it something that is considered highly within the companies?
To me, my opinion is it helps buyers who have already bought the car cement that their justification for buying the car, or cements their buying process that their opinion is in line with the experts. So the award really happens to be about the product. And it is a very good product. In my opinion, it's one of the first mass-produced cars that actually gets better the longer that you own it, because the factory is always pushing down over their updates and improving systems, and we're adding features like Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. But what the award doesn't give any credence to is the systems, the backup, the support, the dealer network, and the people that we have in place. So this is purely a product-based an award. We're very proud of the engineers and designers and all of those people on the production line that actually produced the car.
And I mean, how did China react? You mentioned that there briefly. I mean, they must be pretty happy.
Well, I've kept it pretty close under wraps. It was only awarded this morning at 8 o'clock. It's 2:45 p.m. here, so China are 5 hours behind. I've sent them a note. I've had a couple of really nice reactions, but we'll be talking to them this evening about what this award means and how important it is for the New Zealand market.
And I guess the question for that goes on from that is, I mean, how important to BYD is the New Zealand market? I mean, I know we're a small market, but we are very EV forward. I mean, do they see us as being important? Do they take our opinion as a valuable thing? I mean, and what's the Chinese reaction overall to the New Zealand market, let alone the award?
Well, look, we're very close to the factory, so BYD is a massive company, right? They've got 400,000 employees. We report through to the Asia Pacific division. And so our direct factory upline reports to the head of the Asia Pacific division, who reports directly to the chairman of BYD. So those people at the very, very top of BYD know what's happening in the market. They see what we're doing with our market share. We are one of the first right-hand drive markets to get the car, and of course one of the first export markets in an OECD country. So New Zealand's almost like a little bit of a test bed. If it's working in New Zealand, they know it's going to roll out and work around other right-hand drive markets. So they watch it very closely, and the support from BYD is pretty top-notch. We're in direct communication with them daily.
Now, I'm guessing we'll see a little bit of BYD shouting out about this award. I mean, will we see some ads out there, or some promotion, or maybe little Car of the Year stickers on the back of cars?
Absolutely, you can bet on it, and I'm pretty sure BYD are going to share it on their global socials as well. So New Zealand's won quite a few awards. The cars, as I said, it's just been rolled out to other markets. So there's some other international awards. It's won in places like Israel. I think it's won a couple of awards in Australia as well. But this is probably from a national award, and the fact that this is a really independent award, as you say, with no commercial ties. To me, it's probably one of the most significant awards for the car in the globe at this point in time.
Mm-hmm. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you a couple of product questions while we're here. I've had a lot of people on social media ask me lately when the app is coming. Can you give us a little more information about how far away that is? I mean, obviously people have seen my video, and if they haven't, I'll put a card up in the top corner about the app and the beta testing on that. How far away is that from getting into users' hands?
I would say very, very soon. We're looking to have some information out to our customers within the next 2 to 3 weeks, and have the app go live on the Google and Apple app stores. So we're just working out the final few details, working out rollout plans for the dealers, but our customers can expect to have access to the app before the end of March, at least anyway.
And I was impressed that China appeared to watch my video, or at least listen to some of my feedback, and they've actually fixed up that. Some would argue it wasn't an issue, but I think it was an issue where the car could be started unlocked and driven away. They're clearly looking at the New Zealand market for feedback.
100%. As I said, we're one of the first right-hand drive markets, or markets outside of China, to have this car. And the feedback's very important. A lot of the changes that you've seen to the car have come out of the result of both the Australian and New Zealand market having cars, and they're watching, they're listening, and they take our feedback very seriously. So you'll see some of the initial translation or writings on the infotainment screen were updated very quickly after a lot of feedback. So yeah,
I think some people were disappointed that the moof disappeared.
There was an infamous moof roof. So for those who don't know, there's a spelling error where the sunroof was called a moof roof. A bit of a translation issue, but that got resolved pretty quickly.
It was a perfect contraction of moon and roof. I mean, come on, I don't see anything wrong with it. And the 12-volt issues, they seem to be very quickly resolving themselves. I've heard good feedback from people who've had the update on that. That's finishing rolling out now to people.
Yeah, so that rollout's still happening via over the update. Yeah, there are a number of factors involved with that. We actually only had a small number of cars affected, but it is always a problem when you've got a car that's not working or immobilised. So luckily we've got a great dealer network to support our customers here. We've got great roadside assistance, 8 years of roadside assistance. That 12-volt battery is covered under a 6-year warranty. But BYD were able to identify a couple of little issues, and that's been resolved. So I'm very, very happy with the quality of the car. I can tell you, in the experience that I've had with 7 different brands in my career, these cars are probably the most reliable that I've ever seen, and we have very, very few warranty problems.
Yeah, I mean, we're hitting on 10,000 kilometers now with ours, and any tiny niggles we've had have been resolved by subsequent over-the-air updates. It's if people go back and watch my first videos and see the stuff I talked about then, pretty much all sorted by over-the-air updates. I think the biggest one was the air conditioning system, and that's dramatically been revised and works so much better. So yeah, I mean, sometimes some would argue not good it was there in the first place, but the fact that they're able to do so much with that software is just...
As I said, the car gets better the longer you own it. And if I look at our roadside assistant callouts, Aside from the 12-volt issue that's been resolved, we have a couple of people with flat tyres and they don't want to use the goop or for whatever reason. We've had a couple of people that just run out of charge, and very, very few other problems. So, and as I said, we've now got a national network right around the country of dealerships. We're opening more dealerships every month. But also, we've added extra layer of support for our customers with a dedicated franchised panel repair network. So if somebody does have an issue, they have an accident, and we can exactly see how many cars are off the road from accident damage. We've got parts in stock. The panel beaters make sure that those cars get priority over anything else in that panel shop, and that the cars are repaired back to a really good standard and back on the road probably a lot sooner than you might find with a car with another brand.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of being off the road, well, a lot of us were stuck not being on the road last week because of the floods and horrendous cyclone we experienced around the country. I was lucky enough to be able to run my house for quite some time without power from the Atto 3. You've probably heard that from a few customers now. I mean, was that just a really good demonstration of what the V2L adapters can do?
Absolutely. We've still got customers without power, and some of them are on day 4, I think, without power. And they're still running their fridges, their deep freezers, their lights off the car. And those cars were charged to 100%. I think we've got one there now that's day 4. They're down to about 80%. They've been running the whole household off it. So, you hear those people, the naysayers out there interesting saying, "Oh, EVs are no good in a power outage or a flood or a disaster situation." But I think we've actually proven the reverse is a real situation. They're a real valuable resource. And as more technology comes out, we've got vehicle to load, but we'll see vehicle to grid technologies coming in our cars at some point in the future. That's going to be a real asset to stabilising the grid, and I believe we can play a key point in emergency response management.
I'll put a card up in the top corner just directing to the video we did from the Kaiwaka charger during the cyclone. But we started the cyclone with a low battery in our car, about 30%. We ran it for a while, and while we had plenty of the air, I decided to drive up the road to Kaiwaka about 10 minutes away and fill the car on the ChargeNet unit there. And it was basically being able to go out to the shops and bring back a bucket of electricity to the house. It was something that you wouldn't even think about doing. It's just so much resilience. We ran the fridge. We sat there all night watching The Last of Us, highly recommended, on the big screen TV with the amp and everything going, using next no power. Ran the fridge, ran the freezer, ran a CPAP machine overnight, so it was literally breathing for someone. All with no issues. It's
funny you should mention the CPAP machine. We've got a couple of our customers, or our fleet customers, are power companies, and we've made a couple of cars available to those power companies to go out and take to customers' homes that reliant on medical devices or they're without power, and they're using the BYD Atto 3 to support those houses until the power comes back on. So it's massively valuable.
Such a cool technology. I guess the last question is, people are definitely waiting for another option in the market, and we're just, I guess, wondering how far away the Dolphin is. And is it going to be called Dolphin? Do we know yet?
Yeah, it's absolutely going to be called the Dolphin. That's comes from the Ocean series of vehicles. So yeah, it's going to be called the Dolphin.
So not the Atto 2?
Not the Atto 2, no. So Atto is called One Plus in the Chinese market. So that comes from the Dynasty series. This is from the Ocean series. So yes, you can expect a Dolphin. We will be launching that car this year, probably in Q3, maybe sooner, and we might even have some examples of the car down here a little bit earlier to refamiliarise the market. But that car is fantastic. We're going to have 2 battery options. I'm not going to say too much on the spec, but it's going to be a great zero emission car for, I guess, a lot of fleets and anybody that's looking at a hatchback. It's not exactly a small hatch either. It's definitely larger than some of the Japanese offerings out there. We're really excited about that car.
Yeah, I guess, and to I don't want to try to avoid mentioning other car brands when we're talking about this kind of stuff, but to put people in comparison, as far as usable space goes, are we talking a Toyota Yaris Mazda 2 kind of size, or a Toyota Corolla Mazda 3 kind of size?
It's actually larger than a Corolla. So,
Wow.
Swift-wise, corolla-wise. The thing is, the car is built on the same platform as the Atto 3. It's just got a shorter wheelbase. And I've sat in the thing. I've driven it in Australia. It's a great car. It's not a low spec car. It's not a cheap car. It's a very high quality car. Most of the same features as what you get in the Atto 3. Not quite. But it's also fun and funky, and it's got some really great color options and some interior options. And I think it's going to appeal to quite a wide range of buyers. But I'm particularly more excited from our business point of view as a fleet car. I think, if you're a district health board or you're a company that has a lot of pool cars, this little hatchback for moving around the city is great. But it's going to have some really good range to it as well. So intercity travel, no problem.
Mm-hmm. Now, we've seen the Aura brand launch in New Zealand in the announce their intention to launch the New Zealand market recently. They've set a price point for the car of just under $50,000. I mean, is the Dolphin going to be competitive to that? I mean, how close do you think you can get? Will you have New Zealand's cheapest EV? But the question is, do you want to be the cheapest EV?
Cheapest EV, it's about value, right?
Yeah.
Hey, look, Aura, Polestar, largely Tesla to agree, a lot of their cars are made in China, all fantastic Chinese BEV cars. I would say we're not here to compete against the Great Wall. We're here to take market share of internal combustion engine cars. So anybody that's got a hatch, for a small hatch, whether it's European or Japanese, that's the market we want to hit. The savings in fuel costs, the savings in servicing, the higher residual values, all of those things play a part. And the fact that we've still got government subsidies available on the cars, that transition to zero emissions is really important. To answer your question, I'm not going to answer your question around pricing. You're just going to have to wait, Richard.
The subsidies are an interesting thing. I mean, what do you think the chances of them surviving through the next election are?
Well, hey, from our point of view, I think any incentive towards EVs is a good thing. So we would, of course, love to see them stay. I don't think any government, whichever way it goes, would get rid of the subsidies. I think it might readjust exactly how much money is going out, and maybe the purchase threshold. But I can see it sort of staying around for a little while longer. Yet New Zealand has to get its vehicle transport emissions down. It's that simple.
Mm-hmm. Look, thank you for joining us today, Warren. And again, congratulations to you and the BYD team, both in New Zealand and China, for winning the New Zealand Car of the Year, voted on by the New Zealand Motoring Riders Guild. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Richard. Cheers.